Hi everyone, my name is Ron Gothier, and I help coordinate the Anthony Gomes Street team. Recently had the opportunity to catch up with Anthony right before he hit the stage in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Remember, if you'd like to help us in promoting Anthony's music, check us out on our Facebook page. See what we've been up to. Thanks again. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us tonight, actually, and so glad to have my guest with me, very excited to have my guest with me, Anthony Gomes.
That's me.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Anthony. Right before the show, so you know I'm excited. First thing, Electric Field Holler, released earlier this year, blows up the charts, number 3 on Billboard, debut. When did you get the feeling that this CD was going to be this big for you, this fast?
I think when we were making it, we knew that it was a very honest CD, and we figured it would either go one of two ways, really well or really poorly. Because we were so honest, and we waved the blues rock flag, and the mantra was, I've got a blues soul and a rock and roll heart. And the fans just really took to that. And on radio, we hit number 1 in Europe, Canada, the United States, Reverb Nation, number 1 on the global blues chart. So the people have spoken.
Yeah.
And they want it loud.
Yeah.
They want it loud.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite CDs. You also have a new single out, It's the Way You Make Me Feel. Single available on iTunes.
Yes.
The song also available on the second pressing of Electric Field Holler. Why not on the first edition, or was it more of a production issue to get that song on?
Well, the truth was, it was already recorded when we completed the album. And we didn't put it on, because we felt like the album was so rockin', to have this tender ballad it didn't really make sense. But since the album has already been defined as a blues rock tour de force, if you will, and just loud and aggressive and crazy, putting a ballad on was okay now that the album had been defined that way, as sort of a bonus track. And this way it lets people know that there's still some new music waiting to happen. We always get emails from people asking when there'll be some new music, so this was a nice way to do that. It wasn't our intention, I swear, to keep one song off and then put it on so you'd have to buy the album again. But if it works out that way, it's okay.
Again, available at the Anthony Gomes store.
Yes.
And of course, with the new CD becomes the whole full touring with the CD, and probably the biggest stop on the tour was the Summerfest opening July 4th for Sammy Hagar,
Yes.
the Red Rocker.
The Red Rocker.
Any quick stories on how that went, or that whole experience for you?
Blues crowds are very loving and accepting, and they want to discover new talent. Rock crowds don't care about the opening act. You're just taking away valuable, precious time before the headliner. So they started off the show with their hands crossed, and they really weren't into it. But by the end of the show, we had 15,000 people standing on their feet. And Sammy gave me a high five, and we did a shot of Sammy's beach rum to celebrate. It was great. It was a great way to bring in and celebrate American independence.
That's so cool. And of course, it seems after that show, it's whenever you tour, I see Anthony, when are you coming back? Insert name here. Everyone wants to see you. Can you just go over maybe a quick of how you schedule your touring? I mean, right now there are venues and festivals scheduling for next year. And is there anything the fans can do who say, well, geez, we'd like to see you here? Can they do something to help you get to these venues?
Well, that's an excellent question. Fans may not realize how important their voice is. If you write to a festival or a club and say, hey, we want to see an artist, they know that means 20 other people are thinking the same thing, or 100 other people, but they haven't written. Because most people only write when something bad happens. They had a bad experience, so they write. Very rarely do they do something, hey, you did a great job, or we'd like to see this band. So I'd like to encourage everybody to write to your local festival or club and just say, hey, we want to see the boys play, and we'll be happy to oblige.
Now, I also see, I kind of overheard you talking about maybe Europe next year, because people don't realize Anthony's just not popular in North America. I always see the posts, when are you coming back to England, when are you coming back to France, when are you coming back to Italy,
Right.
so on. So you have fans all over the world.
Yes.
Any plans maybe in the future of hitting back overseas?
Yeah, we've been talking about it, and we think that 2016 is a good time. So we'll see if it lines up, and if it works with our touring domestically. And yeah, we'd love to get back there. We love Europe. We love our fans there. They're loyal. They're like Cubs fans. They stick with us even though we don't go there very often. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, see you guys, I told you he'd be back. On a lighter note also, you got to meet Jeff Beck this year.
Mhm.
Probably, you know, rock god, Jeff
Yes.
Beck. Was that the first time you had a chance to meet him? And, I mean, what did you guys talk about? Was it just guitar talk? Or?
Well, first of all, Jeff was such a gracious and kind and humble man. So that was awesome when one of your heroes is so cool. And it was really life-changing. I've met so many of my heroes, and I hold them all in high esteem. But if you were really to ask me who the greatest guitar players, in my opinion, are, they're Jimi Hendrix and Jeff Beck. And shy of the 4 years that Hendrix lived, I think Beck has been the most innovative and wonderful guitar player. So just to have the opportunity to talk music with Jeff really changed my outlook on everything. You know, I sort of felt like, for better for worse, I sounded how I sounded and I played how I played. And that was it. I realized after talking with Jeff there's not enough hours in the rest of my life to practice. And I've been playing the best guitar of my career.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in the last 2 or 3 months. And people are like, wow, you're really on tonight. I'm like, man, I've been practicing 5 hours a day. So, you know, but speaking of practicing and playing, I got to go. The guys are waiting in the bus. We got to do the gig. So we'll continue this another time.
Right on. Thank you, everyone. We'll check you out later. Remember to turn it up loud.